5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go! Okay,
Episode 14, everyone.
Everyone, my train of thought's gone now. Welcome to Into the 99, where we have 99 cards, because Commander's number 1. I'm Sherman.
I'm Hope.
I'm Daniel.
And we have a special guest here.
I'm Tyrone.
Hey, Tyrone, how's it going? So, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
I started playing Commander just because it's more casual, a lot more fun. Like, I really started playing Magic, though, in the competitive formats like Modern and that kind of stuff. I really like the change of pace, though. It's, like I said, it's a lot more interactive in Commander than it is in Modern.
It's silly.
Well, and it's a lot better with playgroup, you find a lot of the time, right? It's not that cutthroat one-on-one where
more relaxed.
Yeah.
Nothing's taken as seriously. It's great.
Nah.
So, for everyone that's wondering who Tyrone is and why we have him here, it's because we
found him on the street.
Yeah.
Hate when that happens.
It's like, do you play Magic while you're on the street? Yeah, perfect. Yeah. You want some cards? I got them right here for you. Special deal.
I got the stuff.
Come on, man. I just need one more pack.
I just gotta crack it.
Some you don't know about me, Joe Rogan.
So, we're doing a deck tech. Tyrone has a deck for Jodah, which we thought was really, really interesting. So we're like, hey, come on our show. Let's talk about it. Let's do a deck tech on it.
It is a deeply atypical Jodah deck. Like, how you would expect to build a Jodah deck is 100% not how this deck is.
Yeah.
It's really neat to see. This is what we're always talking about, how everybody plays differently. And there's, with all the incredible volume of cards in Magic, how there can be so many different possibilities and options and deck builds that can come totally out of left field. It's really cool.
Yeah, because everyone has like their own style, their own way that they like to play. Some people like to tap a bunch of stuff and untap. Some people just like casting big spells. Some people just like to, just hurt the world. Brian.
But honestly, I never would have made a deck similar to this one if I was given 10 Jodah decks to make. I would make big creatures. I'd make a whole ton of Eldrazi, and I think that's what a lot of people see. If everyone doesn't know what Jodah is, he's 1 blue, red, white, flying 4/3 human wizard, and he lets you play Wooburg rather than a mana cost for any spell.
Yeah.
So most people would slot in Kozilek, Ulamog, kind of your big stupid creatures that you want to go crazy. And this deck goes a little different than that. So
yeah, because we're really, really used to seeing the big CMC spells that are being dropped. Some people like do extra turns, Angel Tribal, Dragon Tribal. But Tyrone here decided to do more of a spell slinger deck in a sense. So the goal for this deck is to cast spells to get our combo pieces out to go infinite. And when there's a few ways to win when you go infinite. But we're going to save that for the end. We're going to talk about everything else first. Just, keep you guys on the hook here. on the edge of your seat if you guys get excited about this stuff, Ooh.
So yeah, without further ado, this is the Jodah Elegant Spellslinger deck. And I'll start it off with Tyrone quickly talking about just how you get the mana in these colors.
All right, so what I do is I'm trying to ramp my mana as fast as I can. But I'm doing it in a very unusual way in the fact that I'm filtering my deck for the mana, tutoring it all, and bringing it back with the Crucible of the World, and tutoring it for it. What I find is it also deck thins your build a lot faster. And I'm also playing ramp cards, and there's certain cards in the deck, like Swarm Intelligence, that also really help that process in combination with things like in Summer's Bloom, which lets me play 3 lands per turn. So
nasty.
Suddenly with Swarm Intelligence, you're playing 6 with a Crucible from World. You're cracking your fetch land 6 times a turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Nasty.
And you also have like Azusa, Lost But Seeking, and Oracle of Modiah. So you get to play, even if you don't get that spell off, you get these other ones that are dropping 2. If you have both of them, 3 lands a turn, which is insane.
Well, that's a really interesting way as well to play it. You kind of see that recursion in things like a Muldrotha, things like a Windgrace and stuff, right? But mostly, like in a Jexai commander, even though he has 5 colors, that's not the way most people would go. Most people wouldn't try and get that graveyard ramp going.
I wouldn't expect hardly any graveyard manipulation, if any, in this kind of deck. It just doesn't,
from a Jexai, you're generally looking at burn, protection,
natural.
and extra turns, right?
Yeah.
A lot of counter and control.
There's no natural that isn't like the natural order of things.
Yeah, and like I played against this deck, and like you grab so much land, you just throw it down. Like there's times when I'm like,
throw it down.
Well, like if I'm playing against someone that's playing Windgrace, they'll have like a bunch of lands out, and then I look at his deck and I played it, and then he has more than someone that would normally play Windgrace.
How does that work?
Like, what the heck? Your deck's not built around us yet. You made it work that way.
Yeah.
Jexai out ramping the ramp decks.
Yeah. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Your boy finds a way.
But like, Crucible Worlds, and you have Ramnap Excavator and everything, and that's fantastic because like you have the fetch lands. Sorry?
Crucible of Worlds and what? Sorry, I didn't
Ramnap Excavator.
I don't know what that is.
The Snake Boy.
Snake Boy that lets you from our devastation is a 2 and a green. I think it's like a 2/3 or a 2/2. More
2/3 Naga Cleric.
Yeah, and you can play lands from your graveyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
So so it's basically a Crucible, but it's a creature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
love it. So you have options.
You have options, right? And especially if you're playing fetch lands, like bring back the fetch land, pay your life, and then just go from there. Just go fetch another one. You're just filtering or thinning out your deck even more.
Oh yeah.
And then you can
actually get those spells that you're trying to.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So, and like I've seen them before with like 16 lands, and it's just like, dude, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need Jodah now. You can just cast whatever you want, whenever you want. It makes no difference for its actual cost.
Well, being able to crack, like, the deck runs a lot of the fetches, as Tyrone was saying. Even being able to crack a Windswept Heath 3 times in a turn is pretty silly. You're going to get not only the lands you want specifically, but you're going to get to repeat it so fast and everything, and knowing that you can go get any forest. So you can get a Forest Plains, and you can get a forest whatever you want. Cracking it and filtering that way is so much better. You don't have to go for just basic lands like a Terramorphic, which is what the general strategy is with this. You play your Terramorphic, you recur your basics. This is giving you more options faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so good.
And the other thing is, too, like, you're using your life as a resource. I'm not afraid to spend 10 life just to get my 10 mana out.
Which is exactly what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Like, life can be
a good resource.
It's just as much of a tool as mana.
Yeah. And, like, we have these resources that people tend not to use. It's just an extra thing that you can use.
Yeah.
You might as well use it. So, like, using the fetch lands, and hitting yourself for like the 1 damage, whatever, just to go grab something is fantastic. Because once again, no one cares about the 1 damage.
No.
If you're down to like, I don't know, like 10 life or something like that, okay, then it gets a little bit trickier.
Maybe.
Yeah, a little bit trickier, not so bad, but still.
I like to live on the edge.
I don't.
I run myself down to 2 life. I don't care.
I don't like being that low. I like being above 10. Anything below 10, I start to worry. I'm just like, okay, how am I going to wipe out like 1 or 2 people at least get second place? Because I'm not getting first at this point in time.
I like to live my life in a constant state of stress, extreme stress.
That's why we always fight with each other when we're playing. We're like, no, I'm going to kill Brian. You're not going to kill Brian. I'm going to kill him. He's mine. And then he comes out with a torment of hellfire and kills both of us.
Yeah, well, he should have let me kill him.
Well, you shouldn't have to try. You shouldn't try damnation when I had a board state of like
getting off topic, Sherman. What's done is done.
Like every good tribal deck, you want to run 30 to 35 of what you care about, and this deck really, really cares about sorceries.
Yes, sorceries galore. Especially like since you're running Swarm Intelligence, you get a double up on instants and sorceries. It's crazy.
Well, so why sorceries over instants, Tyrone?
Well, I just figured, like, because I find I get more recursion, and the bigger, better spells are in sorceries. Like, instants are good for a quick hit, but if I want to keep sustaining my deck, it's got to be the sorceries.
Well, and that is really it. You get the speed, but you do trade off the power instant to sorcery, right?
Great.
Most sorceries are more powerful than instants if you look at them on their face.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, because you have
the timing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because instants, normally we're used to people playing instants during the end step of your opponent, like right before their turn. Yeah.
Or an in response to something. This isn't in response. This is, I have this and I'm going to do it and it's going to be big.
Just try and stop me.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, I have access to spells like Cruel Ultimatum, Treacherous Terrain, right? It really does give me an advantage over a lot of plus playing like instants and stuff. So
yeah, for everyone who doesn't know, Cruel Ultimatum is a big, strange spell to cast. It's blue, black, red. Oof. Target opponent sacks a creature, discards 3 cards, then loses 5 life. You return a creature from your graveyard to your hand, draw 3 cards, and gain 5 life.
Yeah, crazy. And at the same time, Treacherous Terrain is a 6 red-green for sorcery. And Treacherous Terrain deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of lands that player controls. And it has a basic land cycle for 2. Gross. So both these cards are crazy.
Yeah, nasty.
But they're things...
I wouldn't run that.
On a turn 8 commander game is where things can start to get pretty dicey. Turn 8, if everyone started the game with 8 mana, it'd be a really scary board state, and people are dropping down huge things left and right. But with Jodah only being at a 4 cost, you can... sorry, Hope's eating candies. With Jodah being only a 4 cost, on your... depending how fast you're ramping, 4th or 5th turn, you can start Wooburging these big spells out. So you're accelerating way faster than most people are going to get the chance to. And just being able to get some of these big land ramp ones, or some of these, Necromantic Selection for a late game spot, Dune Blast to wipe everything early off the board.
And what's amazing too is just like having the access using a Vidalcan Aurea, Leyline of Anticipation, being able to cast those at instant speed, it really does get rid of the worst board states.
Yeah, especially like you're filtering everything, you're grabbing the colors you need, and then like if you can flash all these big spells out for 5 mana, bloody hell.
Well, and there is just so many big things. Like just looking through this at what it is, what I was just saying with Dune Blast. The common weakness of an elf deck is you run out of things to play. You can get it out so fast. So if turn 4 or 5 you drop this Dune Blast, and you choose one creature, destroy the rest, you're obviously going to choose your own creature. Mm-hmm. And that can ruin the game for someone. They could have been sitting at 13, 14 mana with elves, and then, nothing to do for the rest of the game while they sit and try top deck a Findhorn.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, a lot of these sorceries, too, let me politic really well. Like, one of the keys to this deck is I have to be able to politic. Early game, I'm taking a lot of hits just because I'm ramping so hard.
Well, and if you're popping those fetches,
yeah. If I see that you're ramping and you're playing a Jodah deck, I'm going to swing.
Yeah, so I need to make friends right off the bat. So it's like, hey, I have this card, like River's Rebuke. Who do you want me to hit, right?
Yep.
Or like Togar.
Love it. Torgar is a great creature. He's 6 black. As an additional cost to cast him, you can sack any number of creatures to make him 2 less for each sacked. When he enters, up to one target player's life total becomes half their starting life total rounded down, which can A, hit the board hard, but B, can also save someone who's low.
Yeah. Saving people.
How much does that cost for unrelated reasons?
25 cents. Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah. But like I said, it's like half the battle in this deck is politicking.
Well, that I think is a lot of the fun of Commander for many people. It's the actually sitting down and talking to people at the table, interacting. Because, we can all play online with faceless people we never talk to, but no one wants that.
Yeah.
No.
I know some people don't like politics and they don't care much for it. They never really do that when they play, but like let's face it, okay? The majority of us enjoy the interaction, enjoy like making these deals and everything, right?
Well, like even myself, like I always joke that I don't negotiate and I don't care and I'll do whatever.
But you totally do.
But I totally do.
Yeah.
Well, for everyone who doesn't like to politics the game, set a $50 budget and make a deck. You'll like it real fast.
Yeah.
And it does change how you play and stuff. Everyone can go out and spend tons of money and try win the game by itself. But it is really fun to just see like, all right, this guy's out of control. We got to deal with him, guys.
Yeah. Like one of the things I playing this deck is I'm always politicking to make sure that control player is always trying to get the first one out. I'll make friends with everyone else but that player.
Yeah. Well, because you know it's a big threat to you.
Yeah. Because, like, one of the big things, like, we'll get into it later, is it hurts the most when I'm not able to, like, tutor, where I'm not able to, like, where they have a lot of graveyard hate out. Like, there's not really any ways around that. So I have to, like, really strategically take that player out.
Yeah.
I like, Tyrone, I like how you politic a lot when we play games. Because when you politic, you're not like, let's just make this deal for like the one turn. No, you try to go for a full alliance.
Yeah, let's work it out like this, guys.
Yeah. So it's not just like 1-2 turns, we're on the same side. It's
like you get one chance.
Yeah.
Brian would disagree with me, though.
I'm kind of like that. I'm like, okay, like, you're my enemy, but right now we have a common enemy.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly. But Tyrone's not like that. It's like, no. Let's just work until I need to backstab you.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice. You're going to backstab me on turn 12 instead of turn 4. I like that.
That's nice in the back.
Sometimes it is nice, though, to speed the game up and then just see two people play for first and second. Like,
it's fun.
It is kind of nice that way, because not every game is about winning, but it is about making someone lose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the most important part of Commander. Someone has to lose, and whoever wins doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If I die in a creative way or kill a player in a creative way,
I'm excited.
It doesn't matter if I win. I've already won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Like, that's
if I die to something that, like, one of the combos we're going to talk about later and stuff, if I die to that combo, I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool.
You're like, that's dope.
Yeah.
And there's a few things we can do with combo here, but like I said, we're not going to touch that till later on. But I love the fact that, like, you have so many sorceries in here. Like, you have 31 sorceries. And
holy.
Yeah, 31. Like,
I've never seen 31 sorceries in a deck ever.
It's
maybe in this deck.
Like, in this deck, he has 31 sorceries, 5 instants. Okay? Of which, of the instants, 2 of them are counter spells. The other one's, like, do other stuff. And it's just like, okay. So, like, what's going... But, like, you have the Vidalcan Aura, you have the Leyland Anticipation. You're trying to, like, if you have them out, you have everything as a flash, so it makes no difference, right? And you're turning through your deck so quickly. Mm-hmm. It makes no difference. You will eventually get to those spells so that you can start casting things for flash. You just don't care.
Yeah.
And, like, another thing, too, is, like, I don't need to run tons of counter spells just because I'm playing out in my graveyard. I'm not too afraid. It might set me back a little bit, but I'm not too afraid of counter spells.
Yeah. Well, let's look at...
It puts you in a much more comfortable position.
Yeah.
So.
Let's look at some of the graveyard recursion that you do have.
Let's.
Okay. So, like, besides the fact that you have the lands to recur.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, we're going to have some spells to recur things. All right. So, let's see here. For one of them, okay, All Sun's Dawn.
Which, unrelated to what the card actually does, has really dope art.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So, once again, sorcery speed. It's 4 and a green. Okay. For each color, return up to 1 target card of that color from your graveyard to your hand.
Powerful recursion.
Yeah. And then you exile All Sun's Dawn. That is
for a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And like you have spells like galore, which use multiple colors. So like if there's two cards there that have a green color, you can be like, okay, this other one's gonna be the black one I want to pull back. Cause like you have like, once again, like Cruel Ultimatum, Fractured Identity, things that have multiple colors. So it's like, okay, I'll pull this one here and this one there, and then you'll get like a huge handful again. Like you just rebuilt your hand.
Yeah.
Right? Which is really, really funny because like I went through this and you only have like one card basically from blue that lets you draw more cards, which is, Thought's Reflection.
There's Mind Unbound.
Oh, okay, Mind Unbound. Oh yeah, you have that one, and then you also have a Paradoxical Outcome.
Biomantic Mastery.
Okay, so I'm way wrong. this is like our first time looking through the whole deck here, so like, or the whole deck list. So like, it's taking us some time.
Well, it's not only that, it is a lot to take in because like I said, it's such an unorthodox deck. I don't think any of us that constantly talk on this podcast would ever build this. It's so strange in comparison to what we would build.
No, it's hilarious. Like, even like, I love jank, but even I wouldn't do something like this. Right?
I mean, I'd consider that a compliment, but I don't know if you should.
Maybe it's a backhanded one.
No, because like
I'm the master of jank, but what is this nightmare?
Oh, I am definitely not the master of jank, but this is like up my alley. You know, just like the way he built it, I would totally do this. But
yeah, it's really cool. I would play the heck out of this
Yeah.
deck.
So,
Well, and it looks fun to play. I don't know anyone who wouldn't have fun just playing.
yeah,
something
and
like
that,
this.
like, even when we get to the end, playing the combo and just like people have no problem watching you do it because it's actually a lot of fun to watch.
And
Yeah.
it's neat.
I like an interesting combo, a
Same.
well thought out kind of thing. And like you said initially, I don't even think you realized it was the combo.
No. When
someone pointed it out, yeah.
Yeah, no, like when I first made the combo, I'm like, oh, well, this is working. Oh, I can bring that back and play that again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I got a combo.
Well, and I like seeing that, right?
Well, looky here.
because yeah, anyone can do like an easy I draw my deck a win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Combo, right? Like a 2-piece, 3-piece kind of thing.
Or like a Gisela, or like even a Brago win. Like it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sit
But
there
it's
and
just-
blink things, yeah.
But
Yeah.
this one actually takes a lot of math and it takes a lot of finesse to actually get it all right.
Yeah, it's not I will sack Prosh to food chain 100 times,
No.
and then I'll have my infinite mana, and then I'll
I don't know
have...
who would do that.
Yeah, who would play Prosh like that? Ooh.
But-
Ooh, indeed.
But I think my favorite recursion spell is also a board wipe. If you
Yeah.
go down and it's Volcanic Visions.
Yes. Okay, so let's read it out here. Volcanic Visions, 5 red for a sorcery. Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Volcanic Visions deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to each creature your opponents control. Exile
Get out
Volcanic
of my
Visions.
house.
Well, and
Oh
the
my
ability
God.
as well to just, with use, like we've said, Swarm Intelligence out, copy it twice. All of these spells are, again, they exile on resolution for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That's disgusting. That's a nasty boy.
yeah. So, and then like, as soon as you play that, right, you're recurring the biggest spell you can.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Clone Legion.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have like Clone Legion Reverse Rebuke.
Well, a Clone Legion changes the game.
Yeah.
That puts you from whatever place you're in to first place plus whatever you have.
Yeah. And that's another reason to play the fronts in there, because it's kind of like a Clone Legion. It's just a little weaker in my opinion.
Yeah, and
Which one's that?
Deploy to the front.
Oh, yeah, I love Deploy to the Front.
okay, let's read out both these cards because like these are cards that we don't see often in EDH. So let's read them out here. So let's start off with Clone Legion. 7 blue. Once again, sorcery. For each creature target player controls. Target player. Okay. Create a token that's a copy of that creature. Alright? So it doesn't go away. Those tokens stay. All
Well,
right?
and if you think about it, with even good land drops, if you're hitting one every time, a normal deck's casting this turn 9. This deck's casting this turn 5.
Yeah. And then like you have deploy it to the front, which is 5 white, sorcery again. Put X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. It's not just one target, 2 target. No, everyone who has creatures, you count them up, and that's how many you put on. That is insane.
Well, and I know I keep going back to the copy mechanic, but Clone Legion can hit yourself.
Yeah.
So you can, if you have the ability to copy a spell out, you can Clone Legion the biggest board state, then clone your board state for every creature you have a second time, and every creature that the biggest opponent had. So suddenly you've got double it. And it's the same thing how Deploy to the Front does. If there's 30 creatures on the board, you get 30, and then it'll resolve the second time for 60.
Oh, it'd be more than that.
Oh,
Right.
30 and then whatever on the
It's
board
dirty.
states that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's dirty. Let's just say that, you know.
I like it.
But like, and that's the thing. You have like Swarm Intelligence to repeat the stuff. You have Graveyard Recursion. Like we only touch on one Graveyard Recursion card so far. You know, you have other things like let's see, what is it? Seeds of Renewal, 6 and a green. Has Undaunted, which is spell cost 1 less to cast for each opponent. Which
So like it's 3 of us.
yeah, but whoop-de-doo, we don't
But
care.
who cares?
But it returns up to 2 target cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then you exile this. So once again, another exile sorcery card for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Alright? You have, like, all these big spells that you're recurring back. You're paying for them really, really cheap. You're cheating them out. Because like we said, you know, you don't want, like, normally for a mana curve, you don't want a high CMC or a large amount of high CMC
but
cards.
But in this deck, mana cost means nothing.
Yeah. No. And this is what we mean by cheating. Okay, this is one of the examples where, yeah, you can have these big CMC cards.
You look a little too happy with yourself there, bud.
Well,
I'm feeling it.
Well, looking at this deck's stats and stuff, there's 5 at the 5 cost. There is 4 at the 6 cost, 16 at the 7 cost, 6 at our 8 cost slot, 2 at our 9, and we have a 10 cost slot.
But what's the 10?
16, though.
But effectively, realistically, all of those are in the 5 CMC slot because of how you're casting them.
Yeah, and the fact that you're ramping so hard so you can color fix and, cast multiple spells, really quickly, like
the ramp in this deck, I think, is like the unspoken hero. Like, it's very neat.
I have to agree.
A lot of the artifacts and stuff, it's not the fast mana that you're normally looking at. So I'm looking through it. There's not a soul ring in this deck, and that warmed my heart.
No, there's none.
No, and actually, me and Sherman actually talked about this too.
Yeah,
he was like, "Yeah, you don't need a silver because you're trying to hit Wooburg as fast as you can."
Colorless mana.
And that's it. So you're seeing a lot of things to protect Jodah because he's got a target on his back.
Oh yeah.
But then on top of that, you have your artifacts. You have your Crucible of World to get it back. You have your Armillary Sphere. You've got your Aether Flux to bolt people in the face. You have your Thematic Compass, which is, if you're looking for lands,
fantastic.
One of the best artifacts in the game, in my opinion.
And it's great for protection after.
Yeah, exactly. It protects you, but it also, it ramps you to 7, and this deck doesn't need 7, it needs 5.
I think the most important artifact is Chromatic Lantern.
Oh,
because then I can just start, I don't even need to get Wooburg. I think the most mana I've actually had on turn 6 is 9. But with Chromatic Lantern, I can just pull any land out. Yeah. It doesn't matter at that point.
5.
Well, if Chromatic Lantern hits as well, though, it also taps for one of any color. So it lets you potentially have ramped to a turn 3 Jodah and a turn 4 enormous spell.
And like I said, on that turn, I had two Wooburg. I can't even speak. Wooburg.
Weird word to say 5 times.
Yeah.
Oh, go.
Not a word. No.
Not English.
No.
But yeah, it's crazy how you have this, cause we say multiple times, of all the things you want for ramping, land is the best way to do it. And you literally did this really well, because they're recurring the lands, the fetch lands to bring things out, and you have these other artifacts. You have 9 artifacts total in this bloody deck. It's crazy. Okay, and of those, Chromatic Lantern, you're fixing things, mana fixing, the Sphere, you're fixing things. Everything else is protection.
It's funny that there's more artifacts than there are instants.
Yeah, that's true. You have 5 instants, and you have there's more enchantments than you have instants as well. Okay.
Another thing to look at is nearly 50% of the deck is immune entirely to removal. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how many exiles anything like that. These are sorceries. These are on the stack, and you get to deal with them there and there alone.
Yeah. And there's only so much, so many counterspells everyone can hold.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you're doing that political alliance with someone, they're not gonna, that's one less person that you have to worry about, technically speaking.
Yeah. I have killed and targeted players without any agreement just because they're constantly counterspelling things. I'm like, you're being annoying. Stop it.
I'm sorry, Daniel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Play.
But I have seen people that are just, they focus on one person, they sit and they counterspell it and everything. It's usually the person who or who goes right before them. And
yeah.
That's annoying.
And that's just it. And I swing at those people all the time, and they always try politic back with me. And they're like, well, I'm not doing anything to you. And I'm like, but you're doing it.
You're just existing now at this point.
Don't ruin the fun.
Don't ruin the fun for everyone.
So talk about some of these ultimatums, because I'm looking at them and I love them.
Okay, so I run 2 ultimatums. I have Brilliant Ultimatum, which is a factor fiction in Esper. What it does, it lets me pull off the top 5 cards of my library, and it passes it to that person I probably have an alliance with. Once again, it goes heavy into politics, right? Mm-hmm. And that person's more likely to give me the cards I want. So they get to pick 2 piles. And then I get to pick the pile I want out of the 2 piles, out of those 5 cards.
If somebody passed me that, I'd slap them all in one pile and say, here.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have to pull the same kind of nonsense. I'm like, do it, go hard.
And this is the thing, like, the difference between this Brilliant Ultimatum and Fact or Fiction. Fact or Fiction costs 4, 3 in a blue. You separate the piles, and then you choose one, and then, like, you know, it goes to your hand. Brilliant, on the other hand, the casting cost is insane, but you're playing Jodah, so it doesn't matter. But the casting cost is white, blue, 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 black, black.
And what a weird combination to try a hard cast.
Yeah.
Right?
But, like, Brilliant Ultimatum does the same thing as Fact or Fiction, except for the fact that whatever pile you choose, okay, you may play any number of those cards from that pile without paying their mana cost. Okay? And we already said, like, we already talked about the mana curve, okay? Like, how many 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s? You have a 10 cost. Okay? It's like, okay, I'll play this 10 cost for
especially
free.
since you filtered, like, all the land out of the deck, so then it's just a matter of, like,
well,
hopefully
realistically,
dropping
looking at the
boys.
stats of the deck, 16-7 costs.
Like, the
and
odds are
revealing
in your
5.
favor.
Yeah.
You could off this spell realistically get an easy 35 mana worth of spells off.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. It's all good. I got this, guys. I got this, everyone.
And it's just, there's so many big spells that you never see resolved. Like Conflux is another great tutor card.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Wooburg itself and 3, so you cast it for 3 cheaper. But you tutor for 1 of everything. A white, red, black, blue, green. You grab them all to your hand. Silly.
Yeah. The only downside of that is, like, when I'm looking for a win con, I can't pull the Aether Flux. That's only
true,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank goodness there's so many other win cons in there.
Yeah.
But like, even if you don't pull it, like, you have other tutors, so it makes no difference. And you're like either self-milling yourself or you're drawing cards so, like, aggressively. Thank you.
Yeah.
That it makes no real difference.
Well, looking at this deck list, you could very easily make it, play it, have fun.
Yeah.
Or you could take the idea that many people have not thought of and make your own kind of spell slinger deck and realize that, yeah, you could pretty easily turn this into a very, very fast deck that only tutors for a win con and casts the win con out real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could be very easily fine-tuned into something, like, much more aggressively competitive.
Yeah.
But we're casual. We don't care.
This is casual magic.
Yeah. Like, heck, how many board? Like, here's a question, Tyrone. Like, because I'm not gonna bother counting. How many board wipes do you have here?
Off the top of my head, 6, 7.
Ew!
A ton of removal. And really silly board wipes, like Alpha Brawl.
Yeah. That thing has pulled my butt out of the fire so many times.
Read to me.
Alpha Brawl, 6 colorless red. Target creature an opponent controls deals damage equal to its power to each other creature that player controls. Then each of those creatures deals damage equal to its power to that creature.
What a stupid card!
One of my favorite cards to cast is the Fight Dinosaur.
Apex
and every time I cast it, I just sit there and go, "Welcome to the Dino Dome," and I just sit and bounce it, and I enjoy it more than anything. I'll sit there, I'll fight Birds of Paradise, I'll fight everything because it's hilarious. This does that for the whole board.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Great.
That's right up my alley of ridiculous nonsense.
my favorite it's not really a board wipe, but it's just fun. It's Fractured Identity. Okay. Yeah. 3 white, blue. Okay. Sorcery. Exile target, non-permanent, non-land permanent. Okay. And each player, other than its controller, creates a token of that copy of it.
Not for you.
It's just hilarious. It's so funny. Like, especially when someone drops something that's super powerful. Like, you have Vorin Klux in here, which I really hate. Yeah. But at the same time, if someone else casts Vorin Klux, it's like, okay, no problem. I'll target Vorin Klux. Everyone else gets a Vorin Klux except for you.
Brian and his Kenrith deck. So he puts down Ginger Taxes, exile, and everyone gets one.
Yeah, he doesn't understand group hug. Ginger Taxes, like, no.
And it's pretty funny too, because like you can use Fractured Identity as a Kingmaker, right?
Yeah.
What's the one creature? I can't remember its name, but at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 life or more, you win the game.
Feldar Sovereign.
Someone puts that down, you exile theirs, and say good luck.
I look at the person beside me. Hey, you want to win the game? Yeah. Fractured Identity to the other person's Feldar Sovereign.
No, my favorite is seeing someone doing this. It was Alice Schnorn on on the table.
Oh.
Because, like, the Elish Norns still survive.
Fun fact, I have played a game where everybody else, all other 3 players I was playing with, had an Elish Norn.
Hardcast
Elish Norn.
Oh.
So, I've been in the opposite situation, and it is an absolute nightmare, but hilarious.
Fractured Identity is one of the most fun ways to make everyone lose the game as well.
Yeah.
This deck does not run it, but have you ever considered using it on Phage?
Oh my.
What's the unphage?
So Phage is a creature, and basically her first line of text is, if she enters from anywhere and wasn't cast from your hand, you lose the game.
Yeah.
So you play her from your hand, you Fractured Identity it, and everyone instantly loses.
That's amazing.
It is a very fun win condition.
So greasy.
I don't feel like I should do that.
I mean,
it is a fun win.
Now, whoever listening to it, like, ooh, I should.
They're like
do
taking
that.
notes.
Yeah.
Like, once again, I think that turns it into a game of Arch Enemy where everyone just starts looking at me to win the game, right? And I'm not like that. I tried that with Urza. The new Urza, and that turns into an instant game of Arch Enemy.
Yeah, anyone who plays Urza kind of has
I
to
just
play
assume
at
that
the table.
anybody that plays Urza needs to die.
Yeah, and it makes it tough to play through. Like,
yeah.
You could make the most fun Urza deck, and you'd put it down.
I would
like,
never
this
see
person is a degenerate.
Yeah,
I will
They
do
must
that
die.
now. I'm going to make an Urza deck and make it fun.
Yeah, good luck. I'm never going to see you play it out.
Rest in peace,
you.
Sherman.
It was nice having you be a part of the podcast, you know?
No! Okay, so I still can't get over the fact you have like 6 or 7 board wipes. It's crazy. Yeah, you have that stuff. You have Garrick's Wake. You have Mass Calcify. Oh, that's so good.
In Garrett's Wake, all creatures, all planeswalkers. Enjoy that, Super Friends.
That you don't control, yeah. So, and it's like 7 black. So it's a very, very high casting cost. But once again, it's only going to cost Wooburg here.
Yeah.
Sorcery, destroy all creatures you don't control and all planeswalkers you don't control. That's
so, and like, because I have so many board wipes, if you look at the list on the creatures, that's why I don't run a lot of creatures either, right?
Yeah. So you're not suffering from that.
Yeah, you only have 11 creatures. That's it.
If you can find one, a really good card to put into this too would be Rise of the Dark Realms, because you're getting rid of the whole board, and it just brings everyone's board state back to you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's a really solid one. And again, it's a very hard to cast high one.
Yeah.
But for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But there's keeping a board state against something that can A, tutor for answers so much, and B, gets rid of creatures real bad.
Yeah. Like, I hate creatures, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you do. Like, you have so many Divine
This
Reckoning.
feels like a personal
Doomblast.
attack.
Right?
Like, now you know how Brian feels sometimes when he comes on the podcast. It's like, why is everyone picking on me? Well, let's go through the history here, Brian. I love you, Brian, and you know that.
We miss you.
So, like, let's go on here. What are the ways that what cards do you use to protect Jodah?
Right now, I'm just running 3. Cold Storage.
Shoes.
Swift Boots, and Lightning Greaves.
Yeah.
What's Cold Storage? I've never heard of that card.
Cold Storage is an artifact, 4 cost, okay. Yeah. For 3 mana, put target creature you control onto Cold Storage. Sacrifice Cold Storage, put all creatures' cards on Cold Storage into play. So if someone targets it, you just move it into Cold Storage. You just store it away and just do that for
put them in the
month.
fridge.
Yeah, just put them in the fridge. It's not a big deal. Comes out a little frozen freezer burnt. That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's still gonna taste fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cold Storage is fantastic. I love that card. It's not that expensive. It's only anywhere from $3 to $5. It's not a big deal.
You got a couple of nice pairs of shoes.
Yeah, you got Lightning Greaves, you have Swiftfoot Boots.
Ooh, nice card.
And even your board wipes help with protection as well.
Yeah.
Because you have things like
Necromantic Selection.
Yeah,
or we're talking Dune Blast and stuff, right? A lot of things that are keeping Jodah alive.
Yeah, you target one
killing
and then kill everything
else.
else.
Yeah. Because you really, the only creature you need is Jodah.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing else matters.
So, technically speaking, you have around 6 to 8 protection spells, I would guess, at this point in time. Yeah. Just to protect him. And then you have other cards to protect yourself as well, like Sandworm Convergence. I love that card.
Love it.
Don't look at me like that, Hope.
Don't look at you with that tone of voice.
And
another,
Are
you going to raise your hand? I have a question.
Another one, too, is the Thematic Compass, because when it flips, it turns into the Maze of Ith.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So another reason why we tell people to always try to put in land destruction cards, like Strip Mines, Ghost Quarters, Field of Ruin, things like that. Because we're seeing a lot of that stuff more and more as the meta goes on.
But like I said, this deck isn't afraid of it.
Because you're bringing them back.
Yeah.
Well, and the Spires, when it does flip, it really can shut down someone whose deck is that strategy. If somebody's suiting up an equipment deck, if somebody has a Voltron kind of enchantment deck, like my Tuvasa can't deal with something like this. I don't run land destruction in it. No. I just hope that people are stupid and don't put something like this in. I'm a simple man. I want to swing for 60 with a merfolk.
Well, a simple man with a simple plan.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, you have so many board wipes, you have, like, the board wipes protect you as well, because you're getting rid of all those creatures. And it's hilarious, because you have here Baneful Omen as well. And, like, with all the board wipes, people can't really attack you as much. So, Baneful Omen is a 4 black enchantment, alright? At the beginning of your end step, you may reveal the top card of your library, which is not a big deal because they're filtering so much here. If you do, each opponent loses life equal to that card's converted mana cost. So let's see, like, how many 6s, 7s, and all that stuff that we have again? That's so much damage.
So if welcome to losing 10 life.
Yeah. 10. If that stays out 3 turn, they could lose 21 life. The whole board stay 10.
Easy.
Yeah. What happens if I hit that 10 drop, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's exactly it.
Just like that.
At the end step, too, it's not even something you're doing. It's just so whoop.
Yeah, it's not even beginning. Yeah, because, like, that's the best part about it, is right at your end step. Because, like, you can board wipe, and then everyone has to rebuild. If they don't have haste, they're like, okay, I need at least one more turn, because I'm going to expect another 6 or 7 damage.
Well, this is a scary card, too, because it's triggering the first time. It's not like an upkeep trigger where you cast it, you gotta wait the whole board state around to tap.
Yeah,
this is just gonna be like, it's going off soon. Yeah. Hopefully you have like a Crossing Grip or a Naturalize or something on deck and untap mana to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yep. Ooh. And the ability for this to come out, like as well as 7 costs, for it to come out so early, can really, really start to chunk everyone down. It's only hitting opponents. There's nothing negative to it for you.
Arch enemy. It turns it into arch enemy.
I guess there's that.
But even then, even if it is arch enemy, everyone has to pull their resources, and you're limiting their resources so tightly, especially with creatures.
Well, and as we've talked as well, right? People don't run enchantment destruction. People do not run enough enchantment destruction.
They should.
They run like maybe 1 or 2 cards. That's about it.
Artifact destruction, galore. Yeah. Everyone has it. Everyone's got it. But dealing with enchantments is just not very good for most people.
So hard. Yeah.
Then, on top of that, the deck recurs everything.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly. So somebody finally gets rid of it with their soul enchantment destruction, and then you're like, I'm going to go get that from a graveyard. Play it again for woodwork.
And so, like, I'll go into a creature here. It's a fairy, Mage of Zhalfir, right?
Oh, yeah.
I had to pick between using a Teferi, Mage of Zhalfir, or the new baby Teferi. I decided to go with the Mage of Zhalfir because I just figure it's probably easier for this deck to protect it in general because I don't put up a lot of creatures.
Yeah.
So I can pick and choose the block where they can just go straight for that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And this here is so it forces your opponents to play on on their turn, not mine.
Yeah, and not at instant speed. So countering is no longer your problem.
Yeah.
Well, and another protection card you have in here is one I never pronounce right, but it's Pramicon Sky Rampart, and that is a silly card. It's it's from the Jexai Commander deck and stuff. It's white, red, blue, Captain America colors, obviously. 1/5 flying defender wall. As it enters, choose left or right. Each player can attack only the nearest player of the chosen direction, and Planeswalkers controlled by that opponent.
Nice.
So you can really easily stop the big aggro board. Someone's goblin rushing you. Well, cut that out.
Go over there.
Yeah.
And
that's one of the biggest reasons that's in there is whoever has the largest amount of creatures to my left or to my right.
Yeah,
they're going to go the other way.
Oh yeah. The largest amount or the scariest amount.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But they're all dressed
you have some Annihilator. Let's settle down.
It's not gonna play with hope anymore.
Yeah.
You don't play Annihilator. You hate it as much as we do.
Yep. That's correct.
True.
My client chooses not to respond.
Cool. But yeah, you have a great protection. I love the variety of protection you have here.
Well, because it's interesting protection. It's not like traditional protection because you're not looking to like mass protect.
Another big issue I can see with the deck, not in playing it, but in playing against is nothing really looks very scary yet. If I'm seeing Cultivates come out, meh. If I'm seeing, Vidal can come out early, well, that's
let it happen.
Yeah. A lot of it's not a big deal. He's just far-seeking. He's just having a good time.
Yeah. I'm just here to play Magic and then boom, out of nowhere, right?
This is my cold storage.
Friday night, man.
Don't even worry. Our memory is here. All right, none of this is too scary.
Yeah.
Then suddenly it leads into one of these ultimatums. They alpha brawl your field, or it's by the time you
fireball you for 1,000, like.
Well, especially if they haven't played with you or something. You see a Jodah deck and you're like, okay, like they're gonna drop big creatures. Be prepared for that. Be ready, and then you come out
dirtily. It looks like I'm dirtling.
The deck overall just looks to be very, very consistent. But the most surprise you're going to get out of this is the first time you play it against people. Because they are not going to understand or see this coming.
Yeah, we've ruined it now, but
but that's the thing. Like you're so used to, like we said, like the big creatures, like the Eldrazi's, dragons, demons, angels. We're so used to seeing that. Sometimes you might see like someone that's playing big CMC for extra turns constantly. Like we've seen that as well. This one is just totally different direction. Like we still have big CMC spells, but it's stuff that you normally don't expect. Like. Like we said before, we expect all these other things. We don't really expect a spell slinger like this.
No. And, like, what people don't actually expect, too, is there's probably, like, 8 or 9 different ways to win in this deck.
Yeah.
I can do creature damage going through like that, right? I'm also dealing with threats, too, like with blatant thievery, right?
Yeah.
I'm taking people's stuff. And there's not much they can do about it. And I'm going to recur that card and take more stuff.
Yeah. Or copy it as well.
Yeah.
This deck actually would be super, super fun to play a 2-headed giant with.
Oh!
And the way that I'm looking at this now, would be the Jodah deck on one side and Fire Song and Sunspeaker on the other, because that's my most aggressive board wiping deck. And by the time my deck runs out of fun things to do, all I've done is gained us a ton of life, and these big spells can take care of the rest.
Okay, so time to rethink my strategies for 2-headed giant now.
But like I said, like this deck goes into like so many ways to wall. Like who thinks you're gonna get instant speed fireball, right? Like,
Boule de feu.
I'm gonna mill myself too, right? Like no one sees some of these things coming. Like you can kind of see it coming on as the game progresses.
Yeah.
But you don't actually see it happening until it actually happens. And it's like, surprise.
And that's the thing I like about this too, is because like you said, like you don't really see things are going on. And by the time it's too late, everyone's already focused on someone else, okay? Because they might, like, your board state's going to have like 3 or 4 permanents out in a crap load of land. Mm-hmm. Everyone else is going to have like 8 or 9 things on the board that are really, really strong, and everyone's going to be focused on that. So it just like,
looks more aggressive, and it looks more intimidating and like more of a problem. Whereas like you might have 4 enchantments out, and I'm like, it's probably fine.
And realistically, the deck's running 12 creatures, right? And people are simple-minded in a lot of the ways where they see. They judge
very visual.
They judge a board state by what's physically on the mat, not what's in your hand.
Yeah,
right?
If I see a ton of dice and I see a ton of creatures and I see a ton of tokens and I get stressed out.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. So a lot of the time, most people don't look and say, "Well, he does have 15 mana." Most people are like, "Well, like he's only got Jodah out, or
it's also little things
just an Azusa. Like we're fine."
Yeah,
and like one of the things I low key always hide in my hand is that Swarm Intelligence. Once again, if someone sees that Swarm Intelligence out, they start looking my way, right?
Oh,
it's like Baneful Omen. You kind of have to keep those things hidden in your hand.
Yeah, you got to sandbag.
Yeah.
Until you're ready to, until you can protect it, right?
Yeah. And it's not even protecting it, because by the time I start protecting things, it's almost too late. The game is almost over by then.
Yeah.
I'll have all the mana I need, my combo pieces in hand, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, speaking of that, like we can talk about the combo, but let's talk about things that hurt the deck first before we touch the combo. So, like, as we were talking before, Graveyard Hate hurts, so, like, things like Rest in Peace or Leyland Void.
Yeah.
Because, like, you do have a lot of recursion going on.
Yeah, not being able to recur stalls the deck.
Yeah.
It's just as bad as, like, when you stop to, like, when I lose that ability to tutor, like, I played a game against at our LGS, and it had Ashiok, the new Ashiok.
Oh yeah.
Turn 2 Ashiok. It just shut me out for like the next 8 turns. Like there's nothing I can do. But after that, I just blew up my board state right after because I was holding on to all the ramp cards.
But that's the thing. Like in my opinion, like this stuff hurt the deck, but they don't just like stop your deck altogether. Like,
it hurts, but it doesn't like halt.
Yeah, because you're still drawing cards. You have other card draw spells in here, so like. Even if you have the graveyard hate and you can't recur things, it's not a big deal. You have like board wipes and everything that you can handle that later on. You're politicking a lot. If you can't tutor for something, not a big deal. You're going through your self-milling or you're like drawing cards once again. So the damage isn't so bad, but it does, like you say, it does hurt. It does slow you down.
Yeah.
So, cause like you want to get like 12, 16 mana out by like turn 7 or 8.
Yeah.
But instead, when this stuff happens, you're down to like, maybe like 10 mana at most.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like, it's still 10 mana.
It's still 10 mana. It's still a lot of mana. Still a lot of lands.
Like, the perfect first hand for me is like, if I'm going through the perfect first hand, I have 3 land and like 2 ramps and 2 other spells.
Yeah.
If I can't tutor for those lands and I'm ramping hard, there's not much I can do. I stall out pretty easy.
So stalling is not big deal. Like you said before, you tend to politic a lot with this deck, just so like you can help protect yourself and everything, get an ally so you can get set up and everything, which is a fantastic idea. Like that's one of the things that I think people don't misunderstand about politics. A lot of people when they politic is just like we mentioned before. Just don't attack me for this 1 turn, or I'll let you, do this for like up to 2 turns, et cetera, et cetera. But you're making a full alliance here. It's like, if I do this, you'll get this, and we keep on going back and forth, which is fantastic. So, and that's another way to protect yourself. And if your ally has something that hurts you, you can always talk to them and be like, yo, okay, like, I need this because this person's a threat. Okay, so if they're a threat, I need you to get rid of this so I can search for an answer. And that's one way that you can get past, or around these things that hurt your deck. Yeah. So if someone has something that's like if they have that Aven, mind sensor, and that stops you from searching for cards and everything, so it'd be like, okay, can you attack me and I'll just block it, or I'll attack you, you block it and I kill it off, just so I can search for my answers.
Or you ask your person, like your ally, like, can you path this? Can you modify it?
Do
can
something.
You just get rid of it, right?
Yeah. Just to help out, So, and it's just like a little minor thing, like, person's like, might be like, no, but it hurts everyone else, but it's like, well, we're allies, I do need help. Yeah, let's do it up. Yeah. So, I want to touch on the combo now.
Before we even get to that, though, talking about the stalling, it doesn't really seem like it stalls that much. Like, it does seem like you have the ability to really, really easily get the lands you want. Definitely take advantage of your mulligans in this because you have a lot of card draw. You have a lot of stuff that's going to get you what you need. And it's only 1 or 2 of these spells need to come out before the game is massively different.
No, and I've only stalled out like twice.
Yeah.
So, other than that, stalling is not a big deal for this overall. It's not like it just slows you down. Whoop-de-doo. Like, we've all been in games where it slows down, for us because someone has something that's on the board that hurts us. But the best thing to do when that happens is either like politic, which you do a lot, or just stay under the radar. Yeah. Okay. Like, let everyone.
No one to hold them. No one to fold them.
Yeah. Stay under the radar. Let everyone else fight each other. And then come for the win. Like, don't fight. Let them fight amongst each other and be like, no, I want to kill Brian. No, I want to kill Brian. It's like, but
let's explain this combo now. Yeah.
Let's explain this combo.
Okay, so the whole crux of the combo is I have to net positive 1 mana. So I have to have 16 mana.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. But with a lot of ramps
within Swarm Intelligence, you'll see. So Brass's Bounty, right?
Shut up and listen.
I cast Brass's Bounty. It creates a treasure token for each land I control.
Nice.
So when I net positive, that 16 mana allows me to cast 3 spells. So now I'm casting in seasons past, bringing that back to hand, recasting Brass's Bounty. So I should be around 30 some odd mana now.
Yep.
Now I'm going to use Conflux, look for seasons past. Now this is a super powerful recursion spell, because it doesn't go into exile, it just goes onto the bottom of the library. So now when I'm con-flexing, I'm not only tutoring for my win cons, I'm bringing that Seasons Past back, so I'm always recurring the Brass's Bounty.
And you're getting 4 other cards, exactly. So you're hitting your Brass's Bounty, netting just a ton of mana, and then going up.
Yeah. So,
nasty.
Yeah, and like that's how I get my infinite mana in the game, right?
Yep.
Infinite cast, infinite mana. And with that, you can do so many things. Like we already mentioned Aether Flux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and if you can infinite mana as well, you can recur everything. So you can fireball everyone for 500, 500, 500.
Yeah. Or even funnier is I'll flash in that lab man, and then I'll use a Moijin to pull everything off, and I'll just draw my deck out.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Because it counts for permanence, and each of those tokens counts as 1 permanent on that board.
For each permanent you control, so you full draw your deck in one go.
Yeah, and like I don't need to keep doing spells over and over again, right?
Yep.
Imagine that with Thought Reflection, and I only need, like, by that time, this should only be maybe 50 cards in the deck, right?
Yeah.
So with Thought Reflection, it's an enchantment that whenever I draw a card, I get to draw another card.
So easy, yeah.
Yeah.
Nasty. That's actually very interesting, though, the way that works, like the way that interacts.
Yeah. Like, it does require a lot of mana, but once again, like, this is why
this would, like, only work in Jodah, you know?
Yeah. But at the same time, this is, like, the reason why he hard ramps for the first few turns.
Yeah.
Well, and Seasons Past can return more than 1 card at a time, too, right? So it is also going to, somebody's already Crossing Grip that Aether Flux, somebody's killed the lab man. You're going to get it back.
Yep. I'm not too worried.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's go over each one here. So, like, Seasons Past first, okay? 4 green for a sorcery. Return any number of cards with different converted mana costs from your graveyard to your hand. Keyword here is different converted mana costs. I guess the keywords, not word. Okay? Put Seasons Past on the bottom of its owner's library. So, like you said, you can use Conflux to get Seasons Past back. Okay? And Brass's Bounty is 6 in the red for a sorcery. For each land you control, create a treasure artifact token.
So in theory, right, if I have that Swarm Intelligence on, and I have the combo, I have even Conflux and the Brass's Bounty, I can just win on turn like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Just because Brass's Bounty and having that 8 mana and ramp as hard as I ramp, right? And it's not something I like to do. I just like to see the game kind of play out, see how it all goes.
But it's nice to know you can.
Yeah, right? It's kind of like that peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
Peace of mind. Like, I can win in like 5 different ways here. Which one do I want to win by? Let's see here.
It's fun to have different options to win the game, though.
It's always best to have...
That's how it should be. You have 100 cards.
Yeah. Like, the problem I find with combo decks that a lot of people have is that they only have the one way to win.
Yeah. They're
and
too
that's
dependent on that. And if it gets messed up, they're done.
Yeah. But you have where, like, you can win in multiple ways depending on what cards you have, and you have graveyard recursion, so it doesn't matter if someone gets rid of that combo piece, you just bring it back. Yeah. They literally have to exile it, or get rid of it from your graveyard somehow.
Yeah. Well, another nice thing about Brass's Bounty as well is those tokens are permanent, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they stay there forever. It's not like generating infinite mana and then it's just gone and you've lost it because you couldn't hit your combo piece you need. Still sits on deck. You can still use it whenever you want.
Yeah. And the other thing is, too, if someone decides to... If I don't have that Mage of the Teferio, right? Yep. I'm not too afraid if someone counters it just because I'll always have an answer to get that piece back.
Well, yeah, you built so much recursion into the deck. And also, playing a counter deck, Swarm Intelligence is already going to put the copy on the stack.
Yep.
So...
Makes no difference.
You got to counter it twice, and then you'd have to counter the recursion twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... Like I said, that's why and when you play it out, it just
it's not mean. It's creative.
Neat.
Well, you know,
neat. I thought you said mean.
And that's why it's like it just feels like an elegant combo. Like coming from those competitive formats,
classy.
Yeah,
right. Like in Modern and that, when you see someone with a combo deck, it usually just it feels clunky almost to me.
It's a turn 2 or 3, and it goes boop 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 boop.
And it doesn't feel like it's. How I feel about this is it's elegant in the way that it always can bring back. There's always an answer. Like once the combo gets going, you're not stopping it.
Yep, exactly. And it is interesting to use a Brass's Bounty as a combo piece, a 7-cost mana.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm used to seeing that in Ruinclad because people would just make like all the turn tokens and make them into mirrors and then attack, right, or Desolator Twin or whatever, you know. But
I do something More sinister.
Oh, but like I'm
Steel Colossus.
No, I need to get one, but the price keeps on going up.
I just like to.
You
I
only
just like
need
to.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Now's the time, Sherman.
I just like to make like 100 Blightsteel tokens and just say combat.
Yeah.
We need answers, people, answers.
Well, and then if I need to start like putting different pieces in, right?
Yep.
So if I decided to go that way, put a Brunaclad in there with a Blightsteel Colossus.
Oh, yeah. Well, this deck can run a lot of different things, right?
Yeah, running the 5-color, I can run anything.
Yeah.
Looking at it as a shell, you can change it to whatever when it's 5-color, you can run everything, right?
Yeah.
You can put any win con, you can put any combo in it and stuff. And you can still use this. Like I said, it is the shell, but I think it's more fun to just cast really, really big, weird things that most people have never seen in a Commander game.
Like, when we were talking, like, usually, like, I've never seen this card as Biomagic Mastery.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That is another one in the deck. It's 4 and then hybrid of blue or green. Draw a card for each creature target player controls, then draw a card for each creature another target player controls.
So awesome.
Cool.
It is a good one.
So, once again, if I have to play to the front, I'll just target myself.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And we all love big CMC spells, and this is really, really fun.
It was cool to see them go
Draw
off.
60
and
cards,
this
drop
deck just
Reliquary
allows
Tower.
a ton of them to go off at any given point, and it's love it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that like you have overflowing insight here. Like that with Swarm Intelligence is just hilarious. Because overflowing insight is 4 blue, blue, blue. Target player draws 7 cards. Yeah, I target myself. Oh, I draw 14.
Yeah.
And then also, like, put that with Thought Reflection, too, right?
Oh, Lord. Once again, Ladman win that way, too.
Yeah. Like I said, it just, like...
Or Consecrated Sphinx them. Sherman, draw 14. I will draw so many cards. Oh, guys, look at all these. I need another hand to hold on these cards.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it like?
Brian's at home getting ideas.
Like, ooh, I should put that into my Narset deck now. It's like, oh, crap.
It's a Narset deck?
And you know what's funny to me, too? Is how when I made the deck, as I was building it, I didn't even think about it. But most of my card draw comes off of enchantments.
Yep.
Yeah, like, it just blew my mind. Like, because most of the time when you see card draw, it's usually instants or sorceries, right?
Yep.
How I get my card draw, though, is totally different once again.
It's
true.
It's
Thought Reflection's not in many decks, and I really, really like Thought Reflection as a card.
Yeah. It's just because once
hard
again,
to
it's
run,
so expensive. Yeah. It's 4
It's
blue, blue,
unfeasible to run,
Yeah.
Well, it's like how people try to play with omniscience. Omniscience. I always call it omniscience. I can't pronounce because I can't pronounce it the other way. I suck.
Close.
So
but like people will try to run that or that along with like Enter the Infinite, which is like 8 blue, blue, blue.
Yeah.
And you basically like your hand becomes your library and your library becomes your hand. And then like when people like at that point in time, everyone the person can play all the spells they want for free. So it's just like, okay, like yeah, I get that. People play those silly combos because they're like such high CMC. It's difficult, but like this seems more realistic in that sense. And the fact that you don't even have either of those cards in this deck is really, really fun. Cause like it's
because you
you could easily you could very, very easily do that, especially like since Jodah like cheats out the spells, but like you don't, and I love the fact that you didn't put that in because it's such an easy way to get everything, but you're making it more difficult for yourself. And it's awesome.
Yeah, like there's no challenge in this deck if you put an Omniscience in there.
Yeah.
Like that combo is just unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
And it's already, once it gets going, like I said, it's already tough to go. I want to play a fair game of Magic. Like I want to
something fun, right?
Yeah. Having cheating stuff and like that, it's not fun for anyone else at the table.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you win, let's
go. The
go.
Woodburn cheat is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
it's already really, really good.
Yeah. And like I said, like when I built this deck, my first thought was to do Spellslinger, obviously, because like that's how I just played Magic normally, right? It was never to do creatures. Like
yeah, and it's that is one of my favorite things about the game entirely is just seeing how other people build things.
Yeah, I would have gone in a totally different direction for this.
I think like most people would have, right?
Yeah. Well, like most people, in my opinion, once again, there's nothing to criticize people in the way they want to build or how they build.
He's calling us bad.
Well, but it's like most of us will get ideas from going to online resources like EDHREC, MTG Goldfish,
or seeing a deck too, right?
Yeah.
People just see, blah, 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 at my game store, played this, and I'd like to make something similar.
Yeah.
Which is, like, fine.
Which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong against that, but, like, it's seeing something like...
to see something like this that is so out of left field.
Well, this
so
is a
different.
breath of fresh air. This is a silly deck that is just gonna definitely make the table talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as soon as I heard about it, I was like, I need to see this deck. Like, this is dope.
Because it's just, it's fun, it's interesting, it's different. Yeah. It's not the same, like, because, like, when someone
we
sits
have
down,
expectations.
Yeah. It's like when someone sits down and plays, like, a Madrotha deck, or a Carador or a Marin, there's going to be a graveyard recursion, okay? If someone sits down with Omnath deck,
this
what?
Is a call-out post. Stop. Calling us out directly. I'm not Marin Madrotha. Want me to go get my archives?
The Ur Dragon.
She also plays Atraxa.
But let us know what kind of spells you would run in a Jodah Spellslinger. What would you like to cast for 5 mana?
Yeah. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, and you can always feel free to touch base with us in our Discord.
Yep. I have nothing to add.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for listening, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks again for Tyrone for coming
thanks
in.
for coming on.
No worries, guys. Thanks, everyone, for having me on.
Bye.
All right. Bye.